at one point in my life, I felt I lost Nathan,
Mm,
me,
mm.
and became Nathan Cruz, this character that I created, because that was, for me, the only thing I'd been good at is wrestling, right?
I seen you recently on your story, sitting in a waterfall, kicking
That
back.
was yesterday, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh man, that looks so good.
Yeah, that's on that hike that's like right near the house. It's
Yeah,
like 20
yeah,
minutes from here. Me and Cash went out yesterday, and he'd not seen that swimming hole before. It was just one I found like off trail. So
yeah,
we
yeah,
spent like a good hour there swimming, and then we climbed that waterfall, and that
yeah,
was when we noticed. It was like, hey, that's like a perfect armchair. So
yeah,
we got
yeah.
in there, and yeah, yeah, we had it to ourselves for a good part, and then a couple of people showed up and put their stuff right next to ours. No, I
Yeah,
mean, like
yeah,
some people
yeah.
just got no awareness
I know,
whatsoever.
yeah.
It was
We've
like,
got this whole forest to ourselves, like, yeah.
right,
Just
I
move
wouldn't
down a
even
bit.
mind. Like, I get the swimming spot, but just find a different rock. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
literally, like touching my rucksack. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Would you do this on a beach? Like,
I know,
come on.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, good
yeah,
test of my patience to just
yeah,
bite my tongue and just don't say anything.
yeah. What's the weather like? Is it like, is that water cold or what? You look like you're absolutely
Uh, I
enjoying
mean,
it.
I mean, the water is ice cold, but
Yeah, is it?
yesterday was a very hot day. It was like 28 Celsius, and it was almost like an oven outside. It was one of those days. It was real
Yeah,
hot,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it was good. It was enjoyable. Like getting there was like refreshing. You could swim for like a good 2 or 3. I mean, I do ice water plunges occasionally anyway. In the
yeah,
winter, I'll go outside when it's like zero
mm,
Celsius and let my tub ice over and
yeah,
jump in that. So yeah, I don't mind it necessarily, but it was nice. It was just perfect yesterday.
yeah. Do you use like ice baths and stuff as part of physical recovery? Is that something that helps you?
Occasionally, there, if my back's particularly bad, I find that that's good for like my inflammation in my lower back.
Right,
That's
yeah,
why I love after I've wrestled, having that privilege here to be able to like get off a plane, just go to that swimming hole where I know it's going to be quite cold, or at least nice and cold, and have a
yeah,
couple of minutes in there, and it just helps reduce any negative inflammation that I might have
mm,
in the muscles.
yeah, yeah. Is your body in good shape then? Would you say? Or
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhere in the middle.
yeah,
Like
mm,
on appearance, like for the average 35-year-old, I'd like to think I look
yeah,
well.
yeah,
But yeah, I've got like an issue with it's called your quadratus lumborum on the
yeah,
left side. So it's your QL muscle. It's two of the lower back muscle. I've got a problem with the left side of that causes me like, and it'll cause some pain like down my hip into my hamstring on the left side. So just
yeah,
have things like that. I have a niggling issue with one of my shoulders that
mm,
occasionally just might my neck will get a bit stiff, just repetitive whiplash
yeah,
syndrome
yeah.
over the 1912 matches now. So yeah,
Crazy, yeah,
yeah. So it builds up.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, in that sense, there's definitely going to be healthier people than me out there, in regards to like how they'll physically feel. But again, like I know that there's people a lot worse that just haven't taken care of their bodies, like with what
Yeah,
they eat or if they don't exercise right enough or whatever. And so yeah, I fall somewhere in the middle there. I find.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what is a an average day for you look like at the minute with living in America? The family's not with you. I know you
Mm.
like your walks and stuff, but there's a lot of traveling. Early
Yeah,
mornings. What's it
the
like?
well, I mean, the years the years when I'm work, we've got shows like that. That's the blessing is that I think people sometimes forget that in this job is that like we really only go to work on our travel day, wrestling day, travel home, right? So it's
Right.
normally like you're very blessed that it's normally 2 3 days a week
Yeah.
that you're working. That is
Yeah.
it. The rest of it is your time. I mean, obviously we're athletes, so we have to go to the gym and all this stuff that I've just mentioned that I do to take care of myself.
Yeah.
But we're very blessed with that. It gives, that's the struggling part for me is knowing how much I'd be loving it even more if my wife and my dog were here with me because I'd have the time to spend with them instead of them being back in England, which is the challenge.
Yeah.
So I have to just stay occupied and remember what the goal is while
Yeah.
I'm out here, and that's what keeps me on track.
Mm.
I do a lot of work like journaling and stuff like that, and a lot of work on like philosophy. I'm big into philosophy,
Yeah.
particularly, and spirituality, Hinduism and
Mm.
Buddhism, Zenism. There's a big bunch of Eastern practices that have really just helped me with dealing with stuff. But yeah, the main thing's just staying busy. I've got keep the house clean.
Yeah.
Wake up in the morning. I normally wake up at around 7:30. By about 8, I've already like been out for like a walk, drank some water, just get my body going, get back to
Yeah.
the house, make my breakfast, tidy up, do some reading, do some journaling, get a pre-workout ready, and off I'll go to the gym, where get my workout in.
Yeah.
If it's a day that I'm tanning, I'll use the tanning bed there. Or if it's a day that I'll use the hydro massage that's at
Yeah.
my gym. Then come home, eat again, tardy, shower, all that, and then the day at that point is mine.
Yeah.
Just to do whatever I want to do, whether I'm hanging out with Cash like we were yesterday, or
Yeah.
there's other friends that I've made here in the area, in McDowell County that I enjoy my time with. A couple of guys called Sam and Val who have a pizza shop, their family,
Yeah.
they work in the family pizza shop, and they're good friends that I just can hang out with while I'm here and try and take my mind off missing home. Me and my wife have a allocated time in the day that I get to
Yeah.
call home, and I get to watch our dog eat a bedtime dentist, which I absolutely adore. She's now figured that out, that when she hears my voice on the phone, oh, so her
Oh,
head pops up, and then
yeah.
she'll like stretch her paws out, head off to the utility room where the cat's taps a paw on a ball, looks
No
up
way.
at my wife.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dentist
my dog
sticks.
is so intelligent. Pepper's. I mean, I've had dogs all my life, but I think she's the most intelligent dog I've ever had.
Yeah.
One of the things when I am home, I do ever when I get home from the gym, she'll have like a variety of treats to choose from because she's spoiled.
Yeah.
And so when I get in from the gym, I'll put them down. I say she's spoiled. This is also a testament to how well behaved she is. I put three different packets. So it's like pig's ears, chicken's foot, turkey, jerky. And she'll
Mm.
choose. She'll sniff them all, find which one, and she'll put a paw on it and look up at me. I'm like, okay, that's the one, Pepper. Give
Really?
her it, and off she'll go, and she won't nag for the others because she knows
She, oh,
she's right.
she takes her own pick. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. I've got a video
Wow.
that I've uploaded somewhere of her doing it. Like
Yeah.
she's just a little genius. I love her so much. Yeah, beagles are brilliant dogs. They really
Yeah.
are far too good to be wasted in like they're doing these testings facilities,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I'm
Mm.
quite passionate about having
Yeah.
closed down. Just a
Yeah.
quick fact for anybody who does see this: is only a 96% success rate when they go to a human drug trial.
Yeah.
14% of the tests are to actually help dogs, and 78% of those tests could get the results from a petri dish. Who tell me why we're executing 2,500 beagles a year needlessly? It's
Beagles
inhumane.
in particular.
Yeah, and get on why? Because they're so trusting of humans. How
Oh
disgusting is
wow.
that? So, this animal that's got a really kind nature, well, we're going to exploit that for money. Yeah,
Yeah.
disgraceful.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen
Yeah,
it on your stories, and there's a lot of things going
yeah.
on out there that we don't know about, do we? So raising
That's the thing.
awareness
It's
for
kept
that
very,
is,
very hush hush, and
yeah,
quite recently, they managed to pass some bill through the House of Lords that is trying to ban protesting outside MBR here because in Peterborough they're saying that it's critical to national infrastructure. Yeah,
right,
it
okay,
makes you
yeah,
it makes your skin crawl to be
yeah,
honest. But yeah, there we are. Let's not. I mean,
yeah.
the information's out there. I hope people who do see this, if you've got yeah, you've got it within you also to stand up and protest against these things. There's plenty of petitions online, but I feel like the more noise that's created about these things, like recently here in the United States, in Wisconsin, they broke into one of the labs
Yeah.
and rescued, I think it was 22 beagles, and one of the people who did it was actually, she was an actress in the original Baywatch.
Oh,
And
really?
and I'm a big fan of the original Baywatch. I'm a big fan of
Yeah.
anything from the 1990s, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never really cared for her character in the show, but I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of her as a human
As a
being. Well
human
done for
being, yeah.
liberating those dogs. So yeah, I mean, it's something that's across the West there, but that's my That's my sword. I'm willing to fall
Yeah,
on
yeah,
all day long. I think it's inhumane that it's pointless at this point. We don't need to be doing it.
no,
It's just lining pockets of very corrupt people.
yeah. We were talking there. Just you were saying like you do journaling and it's important to you to stay balanced. You've got your nature walks and that. What's journaling done for you? Because I know some people can be very dismissive of it. It's something I do.
Yeah,
What's your take on it?
I think it's if you want. I truly believe it's almost like a key to success.
Mm,
I've always found my productivity improves when I journal more.
right.
Like if I used to look back at different points of my life, one of the reasons I got back into it, because I only got back into it in say the last 2025 was when I started like journaling regularly again, like early on in
Yeah,
2025.
yeah,
Um, but before that, I used to journal quite a lot. Like when I used to be away wrestling from the age of 19, um, like particularly when I was on the full time All Star team, I used to like these like year in reviews, and to
yeah,
keep up with that, I would journal to myself and just I remember certain things that like funny stories that might be good to share with people,
yeah,
and I always used to just keep a journal, and obviously in your journal whether you're talking about your thoughts or just things that you know, it didn't even have to be about wrestling or even about my day.
yeah,
Sometimes I'm just sat there, like 2 days ago, I was just sat on the front porch here at this property, just looking out into nature here. They're completely cut off from
yeah,
society. I just listened. It was 8 a.m. I'm listening to the birds tweet, and I'm drinking a coffee. There's squirrels running around, and I can hear the flow of the water. And I felt an urge to write about it, like the fact
mm,
that I think I'm blessed that I've always, even from a child, I've always found peace in that. Like that's something
yeah,
it's never something I've had to practice at. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah,
just,
yeah,
and sometimes when you stop and you think about it, you don't realize that. Like
mm,
if you just ask my question, like, when did you get into like going to hiking and waterfalls and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then you start thinking back at your life and like little points that might have happened in your childhood that were like, well, that was clearly a big influence. Like, for example, my uncles, one of my uncles was a gardener, and my other uncle was just a very creative person. Like, I've never
yeah,
met someone who didn't use his talents as well as he should.
right,
Like, he just did things that made him feel good. And he wanted to build my grandma this massive pond. So him and his brother made this huge, beautiful pond with a waterfall, and it was just and the garden was just done so nicely, the right plants, and so a lot of my childhood, they lived around the corner from us on the same council estate when I grew up.
yeah,
So for me, like that was a lot of some of my summer days were just spent in that garden, watching the fish, the koi swimming around, and
yeah, yeah,
talking to my grandma and my uncle, and and obviously my mum and my dad if they were there with me, and I think that's obviously just had like a very positive impact on me growing up that I can
yeah,
now find such peace in just being out in nature. Like that
yeah,
is, I
yeah,
mean, I know I'm not alone. Like so many people find it, and I encourage more to do so. But
yeah,
I find that's where like journaling might find some of those answers for you, even the bad
mm,
ones, the ones that you don't want to face, right?
yeah, yeah,
Where that was a big part of why I got into that. I had to face moments of reflection
yeah,
from negative things that had happened in my life, and finally, when I was willing to listen,
yeah,
it was what are you doing here? Maybe
mm,
you might have to look at this. And
mm,
then when you look at, okay, yeah, this is negative behavior, and then you
yeah,
have to kind of figure out, so where's this really coming from? What's the what is it? And then and it can get upsetting. It can get
yeah,
emotional.
yeah,
I've had moments where I've been on the phone here to Gemma, my wife, and I have been a bit emotional because I said,
yeah,
I was kind of reflecting on certain things, like
yeah,
did I really, at one point in my life, I felt I lost Nathan,
mm,
me,
mm,
and became Nathan Cruz, this character that I created because that was for me, the only thing I'd been good at is wrestling. Right? I was
mm,
a talented actor as well, but I think they kind of go hand in hand. And I say talented, I was talented enough to stand out, at a higher education level. Like I was
yeah,
never gonna I never had the desire to go on and take it further.
Yeah.
But like pro wrestling was the one thing I was good at, so that's where my confidence kind of came from.
Yeah.
And I think like when you go through those changes as a young man, particularly, I mean, I started wrestling at 15 years old, so I'm literally growing up
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
wrestler in
Yeah.
front of as I know things would change from like for like say, for example like 5 6 years after I debut and then in pro wrestling and then social media is this big thing and no one saw that coming. I'm dealing with all those things like growing up in
Yeah.
front of a live audience essentially
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just it's a weird one. I say, do you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
start thinking about maybe you get lost in that bubble, and I think that was it. Is that I got lost in that bubble, and then certain things happen in your real life that it makes you shut off from that, and then okay, I'll just be Nathan Cruz. Like Nathan Cruz is me confident. That's you know
Yeah.
what I mean. Like
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I have created this avatar.
Mm.
So when I go on this night out tonight to this nightclub, in Nathan showing up. Who's
Yeah.
Nathan Cruz? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And it's bad. It's a tricky thing, and I think it happens to a lot of people in wrestling, and they don't
Definitely. Yeah.
realize until
Yeah.
too. Hopefully you'll have a moment where you can realize, or the thing that does make you realize just isn't that big of a deal, and but and then sometimes you just faced with fuck me, mate, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you have to start thinking about this shit,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was kind of where it came from.
Yeah. I mean, you know, our 20s, we think we're a lot older than we are. We think we're a lot more
Yeah,
grown up, a lot more mature. I've got my shit together. I realise now at 44, nobody's got their shit together, and it's okay.
yeah,
To stop
that's
being
it.
so hard on myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
someone once told me that. They said it's just winging it.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
just constantly winging it. Like
yeah,
that's all life is. You are just winging it.
yeah,
And you know what? I think that's a deep rooted thing of what philosophy tries to teach you: to be present. Just
yeah,
be present. Just be in the moment and deal
yeah,
with each day as it comes along. Yes, it's important to have goals, and yes, it's important to have stability and a path in front of you. But at the same time, like you don't know what's going to change that path, and it's
yeah,
going to be out of your control. So you just may as well just get used to dealing with each day as it comes and have something in mind so
yeah,
that you are prepared for when things don't go exactly how you think they're going to go.
yeah. I mean, I'm not religious, but I did grow up in a religious household. And one of a little gag my mum would tell me was, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And as a kid, I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds kind of weird, but it's true. It's like you can set up what you want, but you don't know what's coming. It's just a guide sort of thing, you know? You don't know what's around the
Yeah,
corner.
do you know what? That's quite funny because that's kind of like one of the things that set me onto a bit of a negative. Well, not no, really a negative path, but I guess so. Whereas when I felt my WWE medical in
Yeah,
2016, and I felt at the time that this was like God's punchline.
yeah,
Like I've given you ambition, I've given you talent, I've given you like this strong mental discipline, and you're here, and everything's paid off exactly how you thought it would.
yeah.
No, it's not.
No.
And that's how, and that was why I reacted to it, is I guess in a negative way instead of looking at it as maybe this is some karma coming around from your behavior that you need to go and correct, and you're not ready for this
Yeah.
emotionally,
Mm.
mentally. You need to go grow up. That's how I should have looked at it, and I
Yeah.
didn't.
I
Yeah,
don't think many
unfortunately.
people would have. No, it's
Yeah,
you've
well,
it's a big goal for you. You've put everything into it, and to have that snatched away, I'm sure it would affect many people. How did it affect you? What did that look like? It's hard enough. Some people say I can't even get a dream, but when you have one and you dedicate yourself to it like you did, what was that like?
yeah, just you kind of hit the nail on the head when you dedicate. I was 10 years old when I decided I wanted to be a pro wrestler, and I can say that with absolute conviction.
Yeah,
Like it wasn't a case of maybe I want to do this or I'm just a fan. Like I grew up and wrestling was just always there. It was just
yeah,
something that was on the TV, and as I you know it just started to influence me more. And like, by the time I was like 7 years old, like I was the diehard fan at that point.
Yeah.
By the time I was 10, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, like, and obviously people are okay, all right. Then you get to secondary school and certain teachers being like, "What are you going to do in the real world?" Like, no, I'm in the
That
real world. There's
classic. Yeah.
plenty of wrestlers in this world. Like, it
Yeah.
just tells
Yeah.
me you've got a cap on where you can see your
Yeah.
success. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I'm trying to reach Mars or
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
like that. This
Yeah.
is an obtainable goal.
Mm.
Anyway, but anyway, that was if I was to mention the bad teacher, I should always mention the good one. And there was a drama teacher who I'm still in contact with this day,
Oh wow.
Mrs. Buck and Haley Buck, and she saw the diamond in the rough and wanted to
Yeah.
bring it
Yeah.
out. Like she saw my talent, always encouraged me, kid, you can do whatever. I specifically remember looking at me and saying, "You can do, kid, you can do whatever you want to, as long as you
Wow.
believe in yourself." And as a testament to that, she got me involved in something called Rock Challenge, which was a performing arts show for where high schools would compete, secondary schools would compete across the country. We won the nationals and was able to go to Australia. So at
Yeah.
17,
Mm.
I got to go and perform in 16. Sorry, I got to go perform in Sydney, Australia, and she had to get 22 teenagers there
Mm.
from whole England. And I'm always like wow, if ever was someone who was just an example of if
Yeah.
you believe it, you can
Yeah.
make it
Yeah.
happen. She was it. So a huge influence on a positive influence on my life. And so yeah, I find that training school. I make my debut, and I've now got these like little stepping stones that
Yeah.
are gonna get me to my goal. That's how I always thought about it. First one was get to a training school, find a training school, get into it. That's the first one. Tick, done.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Be consistent. Just keep fucking plugging away at this, and then
Yeah.
eventually the next one is make your debut. August 26, 2006, make my debut in front of about 47 people in a community centre in
Yeah.
England. This is when smoking was still allowed
Yeah.
inside, and the ring
Yeah.
announcer the ring announcer is tabbing all the way through the show. I'm telling you, she did not let up once. It's this thick cloud of nicotine in the room,
Mm. Mm.
and then and so yeah, that was so okay. Like I've made my debut now. Like my thing is to try and get on, other shows around Yorkshire. That
Yeah.
was my next goal. So then that started to happen. Like in the Humberside and Yorkshire area, and okay, all right, next goal. And I had and my next big goal, like I have all these little stepping stones, but my big goal in the UK, join All Star Wrestling. That's where you need to be. At that point, it was the quintessential place to go hone your craft
Right.
and make pro wrestling your full-time job,
Yeah.
because they were wrestling 5 days a week from April straight through to the end of October, when they then have time off, and then they'd be at Butlins all the way through Christmas.
Yeah.
So you have an extensive period of time that you are working full time for this company.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid, like going to watch All Star Wrestling at Hull City Hall with my best friend Matt Myers. Me and him met at 7 years old. We both loved wrestling, and that was it, right? It was the closest thing
Yeah.
I've had to a brother as an only child and someone that I've grown up with. But I
Right.
remember, anyway, I digress. I remember turning the program over that we got that night at the show and seeing their list of dates for like the
Yeah.
next 4 months or something. And it was just like, they're everywhere. And I
Yeah.
remember saying to Matty at that time, and we must have been 13 years old, and going, oh, if we ever want to make it as wrestlers, this is where we need to be. Because like, look, they're literally wrestling all the time. And
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
got into the job and I heard about that schedule, I was just salivating at the idea of joining that team. Like that was my big ambition. So I kept the ball rolling and getting from Yorkshire. I got outside of Yorkshire, a few places here and there, dotted across the country, anywhere that mentors of mine could get me booked.
Yeah.
And I found myself at All Star Wrestling. My first booking for them was in 2009, thanks to he's no longer with us, but God bless him, a referee by the name of Mal Mason, quite a popular referee. He's New Japan, WCW. He's mentioned
Yeah.
in Jericho's books.
Is
Like,
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
Mal's been around. Mal's
Yeah.
Mal's and his stripes, quite
Yeah.
literally. But he was he saw me wrestling at a venue called the Sun Castle in Skegness,
Right.
for Real Deal Wrestling Promotions. So there's Nathan. I stood out to him, and he was in with All Star. He'd been the close hand for Brian Dixon for a long time. Mentioned him. Brian gave me a chance
Yeah.
at one of the Butlins shows. Didn't hear from him again till the January of the next year. Again back at Butlins, and then it was February at Croydon. That was the first time Brian was actually present.
Yeah.
February 2010. That like he could see me, and okay, Nathan, would you like to do next week? And the dates just started flooding in, and then
Yeah.
by the April, he told me I was a full time, and now I was on the team, and I knew it was just I was beyond elated because
Yeah.
this was okay. I'm only going to get better in this environment because there's Rob Brookside, there's James Mason, there's Rampage Brown, Robbie Dynamite, Dean Allmark. There's all these incredible talents that I can pick the brain of, and above all, Brian Dixon, the man,
Yeah.
the only
Yeah.
millionaire promoter in this country who's had, Brian Danielson in his rings. He's had Finley. He's had
Yeah.
Liger, Natty Neidhart, Drew McIntyre. The list just goes on and on of a who's who of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And it's like, my God, like it was just the best opportunity for me, and the biggest thing there was Drew McDonald at the time was the European talent scout for WWE. So
Yeah.
I'm like, right, if I'm to get on this radar, this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
And Rampage Brown took me under his wing. At that time, he got signed for what was then FCW, and he started coaching me just the finer details about wrestling and making me a much more. The whole team
Yeah.
helped
Yeah.
make me a worker. But again, like I was now, again, stepping stones. So I'm like, right, I'm on the team. I've secured, I wanted to get in All Star. I've now secured my spot. And now I want to be a guy here. I want to be someone who, like, Brian knows he can trust.
Yeah.
And I felt by 2012, 2 years in, I'd definitely built up that equity with Brian. If he had somebody coming in like I had been 2 years prior when he just see how they're doing.
Yeah.
And I specifically once saying this in Bognor Regis to this Italian wrestler, you're on with Cruz, and if you can't have a good match with him, then you must be shite. And it was the biggest compliment.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, fuck, Brian had said that about me, and I just meant everything to me.
Yeah.
And then Drew had also I think he was even as early as late 2010. He was like, get a bit bigger. I think you're almost ready now to go for a tryout. And I was like, wow, really? And I was only 20 at the time.
Yeah.
As times would change, so would the job roles, and it was Robbie Brookside that ended up being the European talent scout, and Rob had known me for a number of years and had helped me in All Star and just always, being a good hand but an honest one as well. One that would tell you he hadn't got it, and he saw something in me, and he started putting me in for tryouts. And my first one was, and that was like my next big goal was get a WWE tryout, let them know you exist. And there I was, April 2014. Got called back in the November. Worked a dark match on SmackDown against the Usos, which was just like at that point I was pretty much like both Regal. At this point, Regal had kind of seen my talent, and he was on board. And there's a referee that kind of was involved in that at that time. I thought called John Cohn, and it was like, okay, this is just keep doing what you're doing. We'll be in touch at some point. We can't tell you. We don't know what it is. We can't tell you what it is, but there will be something. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So that's all I did. Just kept plugging away, and a bunch of other things, good things happened in that time as well. I was working very, very regular, as I have done all my career, pretty much for NGW UK, based out of Hull. But they, in that year, started expanding, going out of Hull to places like Bradford, Stoke-on-Trent, Liverpool. They got this TV deal, which meant they were on like local stations dotted around the country. Like just a bunch of good things that were happening. Progress was rising at that time, and I was very much part of the origin at that time. It was just a really positive point in my career. And then November 2016, I wake up one morning, I've got an email from Regal saying, "Can you give me a call?" Like, yeah, sure, but like I'd seen that he'd sent it like 3 in the morning, so I'm like, he's not going to be awake now, America time.
Yeah.
And I'd replied, and then literally 2 minutes after he's calling me at like 8 in the morning, and Jim was like, I'm like, Jim was like, what's up? And I'm like, shh, come on again. So
Yeah.
I'm on the phone, and that's when he told me about the NXT UK tournament,
Yeah.
and said we'd like you to be one of the brackets in that, and it was just like I'd just done my US tour, my first US tour that year in 2016. I'd worked for NXT when I was in America. I had to get my own medical for that one,
Yeah.
and my medical was okay. It was blood pressure was slightly elevated, but not
Right.
dangerous. Get to London, do my photo shoots, do my talking head, going to do my medical, and well, sorry, your blood pressure's reading quite high. It was
Mm.
reading 160 over 92 or something like that, I think it was.
Yeah.
And they can't clear anything over 140. It's classed as hypertension. I was like, oh, and this is worrying because my dad had had a stroke in 2010 due to high blood pressure.
Right.
His dad, my granddad, had passed away before I was born with high blood pressure.
Right.
So here I am at 26, quite concerning.
Yeah.
But even though I should have probably been more concerned about my overall health, I was just devastated
Yeah.
because you know what? Like this, the only thing I've ever wanted is this,
Mm.
and I've just all these positive steps that have happened on the way. That I've done everything right, everything you've told me to, and I've done it, and I'm here. I've signed the contract. I just need you guys to sign it, and you tell me this can't happen.
Yeah.
What what do I do now?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like from
Mm.
10, you are going to be a professional. I just and instead of like even thinking about other options that could have been out there,
Yeah.
I just I mean that first year, 2017, after was brutal, and
Mm.
I mean this is when I start. I'm a believer in what you put out to the universe, you might start getting back because that's when other things just started like getting worse. Like I noticed just bookings were dipping in certain places. I lost my bag, my gear bag once.
Yeah. Yeah.
We flew out of a ring van. Just a bunch of just bad things that just kept happening, one after
Yeah.
the other, one after the other. I had a US tour booked for 2017, flew out. Half of them got cancelled because there was a big hurricane that hit Florida
Mm.
that year.
Yeah.
So I'd spent my 26th birthday behind hurricane shutters in the United
Wow.
States. It was just a really, and yeah, I could do a real bad depression for me there. I couldn't I couldn't sleep at night.
No.
I'd just be laying there, just obsessing that you had it.
Yeah.
You had everything you ever wanted. Now it's gone. And what now? What do you do now? Like I just could not shut that off, and it would keep me awake at night. And my health was getting worse because of it. And it was just a really, and then my behaviour was bad because of it. I just started
Mm.
acting up. Like the only time I was happy was when I was still in the ring at that
Mm.
point. And that sounds terrible to my wife because, but I just didn't like. Anytime I was at home, I couldn't appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because to me it was like we lived here for a couple of years, and I'm going to take this to America, babe. This is going to be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And now we're still here, and I'm like, it was almost a reminder of my failure and which is terrible. It's a terrible mindset to have, and I look back at. I'm thankful I look back at it now with such negative lenses. That I had that mindset, like
Yeah.
just so stupid and short sighted of me. But I was bitter, and I was drinking more, and just things like that. Like because I couldn't, like say I couldn't sleep because of
Yeah.
it. Like I
Yeah.
would literally be laying there all night obsessing over, and anytime you have financial stress, it's like, oh, this would have been better if.
Yeah. Yeah.
But 2018, kind of found some purpose again. So there's a lad who came out of Hull called Lucas Steele. No longer
Yeah.
wrestles, unfortunately, but I have never had a student come through my training school other than Vusic, who's currently out on the scene killing it. That has just got this much potential.
Yeah.
Just you know, and even more so than Vucic, just because Lucas was he's built like a movie star. He's 6'4", 240 pounds.
Yeah, yeah,
Used to be an amateur boxer. Just good looking, everything, can
yeah,
talk, everything
yeah,
you need to be a success in wrestling.
yeah.
This kid's got it. So right, I couldn't get to WWE, but I can definitely help him. Like if
Right.
I can help him unlock his dreams, this is going to be something. So I kind of honed in on that, and that gave me some purpose.
Yeah.
And again, you start thinking positive stuff happens.
Mm.
Next thing you know, I told of WOS is coming back to ITV and get the invite to be on their roster.
Yeah.
Um, NGW's at that point they'd signed me to a full time deal in 2017 where I'd have like a contract so that my money's coming in every month. I just had
Yeah.
to commit to their 120 dates a year, which is, yeah, cool, no problem. They put my money up a bit, so that was helpful with my bills.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in that same year, people like Gabe Kidd, Kip Sabian, Amir Jordan joined our team. Some of them on my recommendation, and I was someone that they could, particularly when I was doing these booking shows for NGW, because I had always experienced doing for All Star.
Yeah.
I was the person that they could come to, and Nathan, can you help me with this? Or can I work with Nathan tonight because I want to do this? And I just, they gave me my confidence back, that team, and
Yeah.
because I'd lost it, and they, all of them, Adam Maxted, another one, Miles came, and two people that I didn't train, but I got to get in there with enough. And I mean, Miles did train with me, but he didn't start with me. I unfortunately can't put my name to him, but enough
Yeah.
people have said like, he's like old Nathan.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's Nathan Cruz from 10 years ago. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, well, I'm very proud of him. I'm very, very
Yeah.
proud of him. And I'm very flattered that I get that comparison still. But either way, like these were people that were on this team that I was wrestling all the time that I could help. And that just
Yeah.
gave me a purpose
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And I felt good and I found myself again. And then
Yeah.
2020 happened.
Yeah.
And
The great
so
2020. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So in 2019, me and Jem had booked our wedding for 2020 in Jamaica, and I'm like, this is 2020 is going to be the year, and
Yeah.
that was when I had my first rumblings of All Elite Wrestling being mentioned to me, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, like this is from a couple different people. Not just, I don't want everyone to just assume it was Cash. Like I knew
Yeah.
Kip had been approached by Christopher Daniels at that point, so I was like, oh, this is, there was okay. There's something for me to start building a path toward here.
Yeah.
Um, happens. TUI, being the amazing travel company they are, held on to our money for it was to 6 weeks after the flight, even though the world knew it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm a full-time professional wrestler who's self-employed, uh,
Yeah.
and now I've got no income.
Yeah.
So and let me tell you that money, those grants that they gave us, did not go far
No.
at all.
No. Brutal.
So I started building up a bit of debt on a credit card. You just can't help but feel like a loser. I just felt like an absolute failure
Mm.
as a provider and a partner, and I went for that was when it all came back, the NXT UK stuff that I'd not dealt with. I
Yeah.
just I'd
Yeah.
shoot it to the back of my head, and now
Mm.
I was forced to deal with it. Now I was in
Yeah.
the situation where it's like, right now, let's look at why did you fail that medical, Nathan, in 2016. Let's look at your behaviour here,
Yeah.
because there's a pattern,
Yeah.
and you found this, and so I just had to do a lot. It was good though. I hit a rock bottom point,
Yeah.
but you have to. I feel like and it was. But Pepper was and my dog. She was a big part of that, and I got big into meditation, and
Yeah.
I'm very much out there,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
was
Me too.
meditating by my pond. I was meditating by my pond this day, and I had this like voice. I was just on my own at this point. I had this voice almost in my head say, turn your speaker on. Like I was really like at this point, like I don't know what I'm going to do. I've only ever wanted to be a pro wrestler, and I don't
Yeah.
think I'm going to be a pro wrestler anymore. Man. I was just completely lost. And this voice saying, just go turn your speaker on. That's like I've got in my garden. I need to give context here. I've got a koi pond that I built. I'm big into
Yeah.
gardening, and I love being by that koi pond. And again, what I mentioned about my uncles, that would inspired me. all this plant life, and I've got this little what I call the surf shack, which is this like a mini bar that I can go and chill in with friends and stuff if we're
Yeah.
entertaining, or just go in there on my own and meditate and smoke. And
Yeah.
so anyway, I go in there and and turn the speaker on, and then I heard like another voice saying, "I'll just hit shuffle on your phone." And one of my favorite songs, my favorite band is Zach Brown Band, and one of my favorite songs by them is a song called "Tomorrow Never Comes." Just kind of
Yeah.
encapsulates how I feel about life. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like every day could be your last.
Yeah.
And then I just again another calming voice just saying, "Just close your eyes." Just gonna shut your eyes right now. And I was got my eyes and I meditated. And while that music played, which again, it was just so weird. I did shuffle, and that was my favorite song that comes on. Like,
Wow.
what is going on here? So
Yeah.
I just shut my eyes. Like it was a real like connection at this point where it was just like you want a positive vibration, just keep going with it. I just sat there and I meditated, and it was like I went on this journey, like
Yeah.
blast it off, and I could see all this other stuff in my life that I still had yet to enjoy.
Yeah.
And this was before we got Pepper. Actually, I should have made a note of that. And I had this vision of me walking a dog. I had this vision of me holding this little girl up in my arms. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be a dad. And it was just like this cat. And it was while the music played, and then as the song, if you do listen to it, like all that happened at this point where the song kind of like blasts off into this instrumental. And
Yeah.
then as the song like winds down at the end, I could just feel like myself. It was like my spirit had left, and then it just returned to my body, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Why am I so worried? I've got a lot to
Wow.
kind of look forward to here." Anyway, I mentioned those things because 2 months later, Matty, his wife, inboxes me. She says, "Hey, do you reckon you could give this dog a home?" There's
No
little
way.
4-month-old Pepper, and I'm like, yeah, I think we could actually. Now, in the vision I had, it wasn't a
Yeah.
beagle.
Yeah.
I will state that, but it was still a bit crazy to me.
Yeah.
And one of my other very close friends in life is a lad called Andy. Lived across the road from me. We became friends at about 10.
Yeah.
Again, kin to me, as close as a
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
And because of that, when he was in the situation, he's got kids that and that he's she was like she became a niece to me almost
Yeah.
like one of his adopted daughter. And so this one day, I'm where me and my wife are hosting a barbecue. I'm by the barbecue, and they arrive. And Evelyn, she's called. She goes running up to me. She always does. I became like a hero to her when she started watching me wrestle. I'll pick her up, and I am literally stood in the same point where I had this vision, and I was it was Evelyn. I was like,
Wow.
my jaw just like dropped, and I was like, this moment, like, so maybe I'm not going to
Wow.
be a dad, but it was this moment of like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then it did. Like, I think back to like how how those kids started to see me as like a superhero. Like they started to come to NGW shows and stuff like that and see me,
Yeah.
and I was like, that was the favorite, and it was not just because there's other wrestlers that they know from Hull might have been one of them, but I was like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
one they loved, and it was just incredible. It just reminded me. It was that constant reminder of when I came back to wrestling in 2021 that it's just another thing that adds to your overall happiness.
Yeah.
Like there's so
Yeah.
much other stuff in your life that's so cool that you
Mm.
get to do, and because you've put so much attention on this for so long, you've built up an equity that you can just enjoy it now,
Yeah.
and like maybe take some time to because I was always afraid of being normal. Don't know why,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
the idea of just being a normal job now, I've always
Yeah. Yeah.
and but then as a byproduct of that, I think like I kind of neglected everything else that goes along with that. Like, oh, who cares about living for going to the beach, the
Yeah.
seaside for a
Yeah.
weekend? I never saw the value in it,
Yeah.
and then now I do, and I'd started to at that point, and it's just yeah, life's just so much better then, and
Yeah.
yeah, that moment, that epiphany of praying
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
praying and meditating by that pond, and yeah, it was. I can only say that's why I could never question if there's God. Like I'm not religious because
Yeah.
I believe religion is when mankind gets involved in it and
Yeah.
agendas get involved in it.
Mm.
But I won't question for a moment that there's a God. I've always had a connection to God. I
Yeah.
lost it. I wanted to reconnect to it, and that was what it was, whether, and that's what led me on my path to Hinduism and Buddhism and stuff like that. And just
Yeah.
because all of that made a bit more sense to me of
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
what I'd experienced.
Mm.
Um, yeah, it's a beautiful thing when you can find it. It is peace. It is true peace.
That's an incredible story. I've heard similar stories like that over the years of, just that peace and actually listening, like you say, to a God or an inner voice, giving it the chance to speak, because we're
Mhm.
just TV, we're phones, we're entertainment, non-stop, and to actually give yourself a chance to breathe and to hear what's actually going on inside. And we mask, don't we? I mean, this show's called Behind the Mask, and you mentioned it yourself there. Like Nathan Cruz became the front,
Me. Mhm.
and but what's going on behind? What's really happening here? I know for me it was alcohol. For you, it was the Nathan Cruz persona because he was helping you mask something.
Yeah.
But during those hard times, what was the role of the people around you? Like, how did they get you through?
Okay. This is going to be tough to get through without getting emotional. First of all, is my wife.
Yeah,
I'm so blessed. Because it must have been tough to be around me. Like I was quiet, I was disconnected, I had a lot of self-hate, and she just stood by me. And especially when I was going through this phase in 2020 and 2021 where, hey, you've only ever been a professional wrestler,
yeah,
other than having a few little jobs on the side. You don't have any, like, you're an unskilled worker in the workplace and you've got to go earn money. And
yeah,
now you're an apprentice decorator at 30 years old. It's
yeah,
pretty humbling.
yeah, yeah,
And, delivering parcels for DPD, whatever I could do to make money. Okay, I'm paying bills, but was I fulfilled? God, no.
no,
I just felt like a big failure. And it just, yeah, I'm so fortunate that my wife stood by me through all of that, helped me through it all. And she's one in a million. She really is.
yeah,
Like, she's always, tolerated me going away on long trips. We've been together for so long that, like, I'd go away in the summer for All Star Wrestling or NGW. I'm gone 6 weeks, every
yeah,
day for 6 weeks. And she's a primary school teacher, so
yeah, yeah,
I know that. So when you've got the most time off, that's when I'm the most busy. And
yeah,
but she's
yeah,
always just been my rock. And now she's my fuel. She's my inspiration to keep working harder and harder
yeah,
because I just want to provide the best life I can give to her to say thank you for everything. And that was, I owe that to Dax. There's another person I kind of need to mention. In 2022, when I was really, oh God, was I struggling? And Cash had seen that. He offered me a great chance to come out here and just get away from it for a bit and work on myself. And there was a day that they were working for New Japan in Nashville, Tennessee. I can't remember why, but Cash was already going to be meeting us there.
yeah,
Um, so it was just me and Dax, and I'd met him once or twice, and always been polite, and obviously we had the mutual friend and love for Dan, but
yeah,
we'd never got to know each other, and we had a 5 hour car journey all the way to Nashville, and I don't know if Dan had orchestrated this because he thought it'd be good for me,
yeah,
um, but that time was so valuable
yeah,
because one thing that really stuck with me, and it was a big point of me turning things around into a positive way, was him saying, look, if you get to, because at this point I'd got in my head, like, when you get to 20 years, if you haven't got a deal, you need to stop wrestling. You need
right,
to walk away from this and focus on something else so you can provide a good life here and,
yeah,
get your stuff in order. Anyway, he said to me, look, if you reach this point in 20 years and you can look back on the fact that you got to go to 9 different countries, you wrestled full time, and you were good. Like, he said, I know how good you are. Like, I knew of you from Progress, and he said, and you were good enough
yeah,
to get offered a deal from WWE,
yeah,
despite And in my head, I'm like, yeah, and despite the fact I'm just a kid from a council estate in Hull, England, like,
yeah, yeah,
never been genetically gifted. I'm 5'10", You know, I mean, I struggle to put weight on. Every obstacle really at a starting point, like I had
Yeah.
going against me, and
Mm.
I somehow still got to that point. And it just made you said that is it really such a bad thing that you then get to take care of this woman that stood by you throughout all of that?
Yeah.
And I
Mm.
was like, and you know, when you just sit there and you're like, you know what, man? Yeah, you're right.
Mm.
Why have I been so short sighted about this? Like,
Mm.
so yeah, first and foremost, my wife, and obviously, uh, kind of Dax connects
Yeah.
to that story. He was really good, but and Cash, man, Daniel was, and John Schuyler as well. Like, he's another one from the United States that it just touched me so much that these guys were 4,500 miles away,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
concerned about their mate in England who they know
Yeah.
is going
Yeah.
through it, and
Mm.
would check in on me. And yeah, I mean, I've always, I mean, I've been close with those guys for so long. We met in, well, Dan and I met in 2012, and then John 2013 when Dan came back over. But we're, all three of us, just there was a connection, and it's one that I've been very blessed to.
Yeah.
You know, we've all maintained ever since then, and particularly in that period, it spoke volume to me that like these aren't just mates in wrestling,
No.
you know, that you meet because you meet a zillion of them. You have these that you're really close with for a few weeks, and then you know it's just how the job is and how life is. But these are guys that you know these
Yeah.
we could all just hang them up tomorrow, and these are
Yeah.
still my
Yeah.
friends, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I value that so much. And again, just everybody else that I've met, like Matty, I can't, you know, there was a time I went through a rough patch, and in particular, and I just remember Matty just showing up in my garden one day while I was sat by that pond and uninvited, just popped around to make sure I was doing all right. And you know, you just all I was very lucky. My parents, they're still there, great support system.
Yeah.
Like just I was very fortunate. I had so many positive people around me that wanted to see me kick out and do well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, I managed to just get that shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people I talk to, they feel guilt or shame, almost like they're a burden, and like that on top of what you're already going through. What's the reality of that? What are they really thinking, these people that are around you?
I mean, as somebody who has reached out, I've seen kind of go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like now I look at it different.
Yeah.
Back then, like you just said, bad. That's I just kept feeling like I kept feeling bad. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
like you guys have got AEW. You know, you get to go do like AEW in Jacksonville, and I'm sorry, like he, you
Yeah.
know, like I just felt so bad. And
Yeah.
like you say, bad, and I didn't want to reach out to. And I think that's why I didn't talk about it as much as I probably should have done, is
Mm.
because I just didn't. I don't want to be a drag on your day, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Particularly in 2020 when a lot of us were going through it anyway. I just kind of
Yeah.
felt like, yeah. So you as well, Nathan. So what? So is everybody else. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Mm.
it was just you do just feel like a bird, but you know it isn't that. Like I say, somebody who has done it. Particularly if you are that wants to get help.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like, obviously, I have to identify that you don't want your energy to be wasted, right? You want to know that, like, I can see somebody struggling, and I do think that
Yeah.
you know, they're going to make it. They just need help. They might just need a path, or they just might need a bit of encouragement, or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, if you've got, and you need to be honest with yourself. That's a big thing that I had to start doing, looking in the mirror and going, like, be honest with yourself. Are you doing stuff to help yourself, or are you making matters
Mm.
worse?
Yeah.
Start thinking
Mm.
about your own behaviour. Like, so that's a tough one. That is a tough one that
Yeah.
people can it can you know disasterify the situation. I'm a lost hope or cause or whatever, and you're not. Don't ever
No.
think you are.
No.
The fact that you're asking yourself those questions is a good. That's a good start. It's a
Yeah.
really good start that you are already asking those questions to yourself of like, you know, like, okay, what am I doing to cause this problem?
Yeah.
Let's focus on changing those things. And then, you know, then people around you notice that, and that's why they want to help you, is
Yeah.
because, hey, they're actually trying, right? So
Yeah.
just, you know, you get the right people around you, you'll
Yeah.
be, you know, you'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I'm 3 years sober now.
No,
And
congratulations, Danny.
thank
Well
you,
done.
man. And I remember when I was at the centre and we would talk and do our meetings and all those type of things. And to me, it was like I felt like I didn't fit in there even. I wasn't I wasn't wrecked enough. My knife wasn't destroyed enough. It was like I even felt guilty for getting help then. And I remember backing away a little bit, and I got a phone call one day, and Paul said to me, "Don't deny somebody helping you, and that will help them. Why would you deny them that opportunity?" And I thought, wow, it's so true. Like when we help people, it helps us, doesn't it? And
Yeah,
people aren't looking at you like you're a burden. They're not thinking that way. When you're in it, you're seeing it a bit more distorted than the reality of it. And it's better
yeah,
to always reach out.
yeah. Well, just what you're saying then as well about like it's it's a nice feeling to help people, right?
Yeah.
I always hang, the end of Scrooge when Bill Murray's going, he's saying there, it's addictive. Like,
Yeah,
just be
yeah, yeah.
helpful. It is
Yeah.
like
It
it's true.
is.
When you can do
Yeah.
good for someone, like
Yeah.
you just walk away from that. I'm really happy I got to do that. Like,
Yeah.
just do it more often, and I find that again, well, your output will be your input. Like
Yeah.
you'll find
Mm.
that because just naturally, just think of it whether you believe in those sort of things or not. Just think of it naturally of like, okay, so who are you more likely to help? Somebody who's willing to help you, or somebody who's just willing to just walk past you and ignore you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you give out is what you'll get in. It'll come back to you in ways that you don't realize until you look back on it and you go, "Oh, wait, hold
Yeah. Yeah.
on."
Yeah.
But that's that balance of the
Mm.
universe that I've heard so much about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there is so much noise out there now with social media and all that, and the wrestling industry is, we love debating it. We love our favorite wrestlers. We love this show. We love that show. Um, how do you stay balanced around that kind of noise and the negativity?
Ignore it,
Yeah.
to be honest. I don't. There's the people I put stock in the opinion of is my boss because he pays me, and my peers because they have to work with me,
Mm.
right? For me, the best award I can ever get is that somebody would get to a venue, see that they're on with from Cruz, and go, oh, "Sweet, night off."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
knowing that it's like it's going to be a good match. I'm going to take care of them. They're not going to come out there injured.
Yeah.
And that my boss is, we'll come back and our boss will be like, giving us a thumbs up. I'm like, that's exactly what I wanted. I'm like,
Mm.
okay. So why do
Yeah.
not that they are not entitled. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but this is a very subjective art form.
Yeah.
And like it has been dubbed the variety show, the circus, for a purpose. There's
Yeah.
a reason why lucha libre is a very different style to Japanese wrestling. To why, well, it was at once upon a time, like all of them have kind of made this hybrid at the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
But at one time, there was a North American style, there was a British style, there was a Japanese style, there was a lucha libre style, and yes, there is this like hybrid in between. But then that kind of gives you then five different things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's an audience for all of those five things. And there's an audience who just want to see big, free, like giant 7 foot
Yeah.
guys slog at each other, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so subjective.
Yeah.
So why am I going to put so much stock into one person's opinion?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm
Mm.
sorry. I'm just not. Like
Mm.
unless you're like my match agent or you my peers or my boss, like
Yeah.
you don't know what this is
Mm.
either. Like unless you've been in there, you won't. You will
Yeah.
never know what it's like to take direction from a producer, to get into a ring that you've been told was originally a 5 minute match and now you've got time cut, to be told, hey, move because you're in the way of this camera, to be told, oh, this match is actually to get this person from they've got the pay-per-view coming up in a month, so this
Yeah.
match is to set chapter one so that chapter two makes sense, so then we've got the heat on the pay-per-view. Literally, like as a spectator, you can't know those things because
No.
you've never been in that situation. You don't know what it's like to be also thinking of all these things whilst you're running around a ring and taking bumps and having the
Yeah.
wind driven out of you. And yes, you can see people who are better than others. Absolutely, of course you can.
Yeah.
But that also needs to be that pardon in you to go, hey, do you reckon you could do it? So
Mm.
maybe humble yourself in
Mm.
how you're wording this and how you're phrasing this. Because I hazard a guess, the vast majority of people who do harshly critique what we do couldn't even run the ropes for a minute.
No.
Like they'd complain that the ropes hurt them because when you first do it, you'll see welts in people's lats.
Yeah, yeah,
The gas tank wouldn't be there.
yeah,
They wouldn't be able to adjust to how the ring moves. Like the first, it's a bunch of stuff.
yeah,
You like legitimately, like you wouldn't believe how long it may take some people to learn to run the ropes
yeah,
correctly.
yeah.
You have no idea what goes into this. So just check your ego. You getting a few likes for saying a few shocking things is not important. And I
Yeah.
can tell you right now, there's not a single person in that changing room who cares.
Yeah.
And I am deadly honest.
Yeah.
More times than not, the stupidest reviews will be brought up as a conversation starter for us all to have a laugh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just bear that in mind.
Yeah.
Do you want to be? Do you want to be somebody who we would go out our way to take a picture with, or be somebody who we're going to be all sat in the back laughing at what you've said, right? Like,
well
and I'm saying the ones who would make the most stupid comments about this, who just try to go after the person as opposed to the performance that they've just watched. Like those are the ones that just make us all just what's going on in this person's life to be this bitter about pro wrestling, about a TV show. All right, man. But again, that's why I just ignore it, because I also think they've probably got a lot of negative stuff going on themselves, and this is their way to project it to the universe. So just leave them to it, because it's it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, it can be a cesspit out there, the comment sections of anywhere. What matters the most to you now that maybe didn't matter before, and what doesn't matter? What can you let go?
My family, without a doubt. Like that's like, I aren't saying that they didn't matter to me before. They've always mattered to me, but I was just so tunnel visioned on pro wrestling, making it to North America, and it's just always been that I didn't give it the attention that it deserves, and now I'm in this position that I'm in now, ironically 4,000 miles away from home, but I do have a great appreciation for that, and my time doing that, like my time with my wife walking our dog, particularly if we can take our parents to the beach with them. There's a beautiful East Yorkshire beach called Fraserthorpe that's dog friendly. And just seeing Pepper running around, splashing around, playing with other dogs, whilst my parents there can enjoy an ice cream, my mother-in-law, me and Jem. I'm like, this is the last thing on my mind is anybody's tweet.
What used to seem really, really important before, but now it's just like, I know that these walks and the meditation and everything, and the passion is still there, but are you able to just ride the wave now better?
I think, kind of going back to what I said, I definitely at one time did care too much what people thought, and I would. It's where now I just got to the point of, like, I've always been like this with promoters, that I'm like, look, I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Again, very subjective art form. So I'm not precious about particularly because I've been fortunate enough to know that I was Brian's guy. I was Rich Dunn, who runs NJW, and I was a Progress champion, their first champion, their tag team champion. I have been the guy in a number of good promotions. And France, the God, in 2013, they couldn't fly me out enough. Every weekend I was there. So I'm not gonna, but they might, as much as those people have seen the value in me. Maybe another promoter just goes, oh, no, that's not my thing. All right, okay, cool. Like, that's why I am now, that I focus. I always think of it as, look, I'm going to do what I loved watching as a kid. Because I guarantee if I enjoyed watching it, there's still going to be people that enjoy that. And if it isn't to someone else's cup of tea, fine, cool. Go watch what you enjoy. Like, that's, my favourite wrestler as a kid was The Undertaker. Matty's was Rey Mysterio. Still best friends. It doesn't matter. They wrestle completely differently. Do you know what I mean? Like, to me, and that's why I'm at, like, that means there may be two other, people who are stomach-minded to go, no, mine's better. But there's two people
Yeah.
that could actually go, oh, cool.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, well, we'll enjoy wrestling together. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just be the one that appeals to one of them. I know what I do. I'm a sports entertainer. That's what I would do myself as, right?
Yeah.
I I'm athletic enough, but I'm not the most super athletic.
Yeah.
I know how to I tell a story with what I'm doing in the ring.
Yeah.
I've got a strong facial expression. I know what my strengths are. That's what I'm going to do. I enjoy doing it. I know there's other people that enjoy it. And for those that don't, you enjoy something else. And that has brought me so much more joy with my wrestling. Like I say, because then, like when I'm coming back from a match and the people have seen it, FTR, I'm going to ask their critique because
Yeah.
the greatest tag team on earth, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if they've got some advice for me, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
My boss has got advice for me. He's paying me, and
Yeah.
he's the one that's gonna eventually, hopefully, if things continue the way I want it to, he's the man that can make that happen. So,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
whatever you want, boss.
Yeah.
My agent's taking direction from the boss. Okay, and that's it. Like I don't need to go. I don't even run my own X. I just pay somebody to do it for me
Yeah. Yeah.
because no nonsense to me.
Yeah.
So it's just a way to promote. That's all it
Mm.
is to me. So I may as well just pay someone to do it.
Yeah.
Same way I'd pay to put a poster up somewhere. That's all I see it as. I don't really care about checking on that. Like, and again, that was something I used to. I used to put stock into it
Yeah.
stupidly. And
Mm.
you're never going to please everybody. If Will
Yeah.
Ospreay is getting criticism, if Roman Reigns gets criticism, I'm just like, I thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are opinions I certainly do not need to listen to.
Yeah. I think when, I talk to a lot of people about self doubt and it crops up a lot. And it's, because of the masks that we wear and in wrestling, the personas, a lot of people don't think that, famous people ever have those kind of moments, that self doubt. And I always reassure them that we do. I'm one of the biggest out there. But when self doubt creeps up on you, how do you treat that?
Oh, do you know what? That's the one I still struggle with, if I'm
Mm.
honest. I have to try and there's things I'll put into place and trying to remind myself.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be that imposter syndrome. I know full well, right? For example, there's going to be people going, Nathan Cruz is only at Ring of Honor and All Elite Wrestling because he's friends with Cash Wheeler. I
Right.
accept that there's going to be people who are going to take that opinion. My counter opinion is what I just mentioned. He's one half of the greatest tag team on earth.
Yeah.
You get scouted by, like I mentioned, there was talent scouts for WWE. You get scouted by someone for a company, right?
Yeah.
If one half of the greatest tag team on earth is who saw the talent in me and thought I deserved an opportunity,
Yeah.
so be it.
Yeah.
If the other person that's writing a very strong reference for me to get this job is Will Ospreay,
Yeah.
so be it. I'm good.
Yeah.
You
That'll
know what I
do.
mean?
Yeah.
That's at times when I just need to just remind myself that of go,
Mm.
hey, how many people in you enjoy sharing a ring with you and want to do it again?
Yeah.
Like that's you know what I mean? Like I just have to
Yeah.
remind myself of that. And obviously it's tougher the older I get. My back isn't as great as it used to be. I'm not 26 anymore. I'm
Yeah.
35, and those miles, all the miles that you travel, all the bumps I've taken in
Yeah.
1,912 matches, all the weight training, it all comes up at some point and starts to bite you, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, can I really perform like I used to?
Mm.
In the situation I'm in now, I'm not wrestling as frequently. When I went to All Star and
Yeah.
GW, I was wrestling 5, 6 days a week. Sometimes with All Star wrestling, in those summer seasons, we do two on the Wednesday, two on the Tuesday, two on the Wednesday, three on the Thursday, one on the Friday, one on the Saturday, three on the Sunday, and we're
Wow.
setting the ring up and tearing the ring down on all of those shows.
Wow.
And you're
Yeah.
wrestling 15 to 20 minute matches,
Mm.
like so your mind isn't as sharp. But so there's sometimes that where I'm like, oh, like I know old me would have corrected that, but then there's
Yeah.
also that reminder of going, younger me would have corrected that, but then there's that reminder of, yeah, but older you is wiser enough to figure out a way that we can do this
Yeah.
get the same desired reaction with probably taking two or three less bumps and not hurting ourselves as much,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
making something where we could have just done a high spot that's going to be forgotten about in 10 seconds,
yeah,
or we can create something that's going to be a TV moment that then get picked up for social media to grab. And to go on, like, my
yeah,
mind
yeah,
will work different. So I just
yeah,
again I just have to weigh it up and just go, yes, but yes,
yeah,
but. And
yeah,
that's normally it. That's normally when I go, okay, I can
yeah,
just chill out, Nathan. You're just getting in your own head again. It happens. It happens to everybody. It happens to the best of us.
yeah,
And just
yeah,
try. Those are my steps. Is
yeah,
look back on the people who have supported me, and look back on the successes that I have made,
yeah,
and and sometimes just some music. There's a
yeah,
great song I love called by David Neil called David Neil and the Brothers Osborne. It's like Good at Tonight. That just gives me energy.
yeah,
I can just listen
yeah,
to that, and I'm like, the song I've always been good at tonight, and I'm like, that's kind of me. Like I always
yeah,
was, like I also that spotlight goes on and the entrance jacket and the
yeah.
baby oils on. I'll always be good at tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it happens to so many people, self doubt, and they see it as a sign to stop. And in fact, it's usually a sign to keep going.
Yeah.
And
No,
that's
don't
why,
stop.
yeah, yeah,
Stress promotes growth. That's the
yeah,
greatest thing
yeah,
the gym ever taught me.
yeah, yeah,
Stress promotes growth. All's what you have. It's just how you react to it, and
yeah,
that's what Stoicism taught me.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
you can't control what goes on. You can only control what goes out. You
yeah,
can, you know what I mean? Like you can control how you react to a situation, and
yeah,
ultimately that's where your mental health will ride on.
yeah,
It's as simple as that. Like
yeah,
you can curse, beep your horn, and then scream at the driver in front of you who's going 10 miles below the speed limit. But if there's no way for you to get around them, you're just stuck there. So you may as
yeah.
well just slow down, listen to some nice music, take in the scenery, and wait for your opportunity.
Oh, brilliant. There's the quote for the show right there. That's it. That's the one. We've been on such an incredible journey with you there. That arc, that comeback story is going to be inspirational to so many people. What are you looking forward to?
Hey, it's weird because I there's so much uncertainty, and that would normally freak me out.
Mm,
But I think because this is what since I failed that medical in 2016, I
yeah,
have been waiting for this
yeah,
to just find out. As Dak said, you were good enough to get that opportunity. The thing that always was in the back of my head is, how good could you have been
mm,
if you had, all that coaching staff and that experience behind you? And now I'm in this position where I'm again similar situation. I've got a lot of great minds around me. Jerry Lynn, the fact that I can turn to a Jerry Lynn and ask for feedback
yeah,
excites me. The fact
yeah,
that I can turn to FTR, I've got all these great people around me that are going to help me grow and perform better, and that excites me. I think that's let's see where this can go is where
yeah,
I'm at, and do you know what? If it doesn't go beyond this point, yes, there's going to be that bit where it's going to be a bit, "Oof,"
yeah,
but I found out, and
yeah, yeah,
I know I gave it everything. Like
yeah,
I'm not going to be able to sit there and go, what if you'd have done this? What if you'd have done that? I know, hand on heart, I came to this fight and swung with every last ounce of sweat, blood, and tears I have in my soul, and and then
yeah,
some.
yeah,
I had to be reborn halfway through to keep
yeah,
going, but I
yeah,
did, and I can, and then again going back to what I said about some of my successes, I can look back on the fact that when NGW was on TV regular on Challenge TV, and it was on like little local networks around the UK. I got stopped in an ASDA in Gloucester and being
yeah,
like, "Hey, aren't you Nathan Cruz, the guy that we watch every Sunday morning at
yeah,
11?" And I'm
yeah,
like, I remember texting Rich at the time saying, "I never thought this would happen until I
yeah,
got
yeah,
signed in North America."
yeah,
I got to do that. I am forever a part of British wrestling history for being the first ever Progress Wrestling champion, and and what I would then go on to do with my career as part of Progress, and what
yeah,
that would do for the greater British wrestling scene for that boom period, to even be in that school of talent and stand out.
Yeah.
because of how, when you have the Rampage Browns, the No Arm Dars, there was so much, there's just two people that come to mind that always, the Mark Haskins, obviously, I was very closely affiliated with. We had so much talent in that
Yeah.
country at that time. It was such a dense talent pool. To say that I stood out amongst that will always,
Yeah. Yeah.
be a treasure to me. Will Ospreay was part of that class, for crying out
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah.
My,
Wow.
like because there was so many people
Yeah.
that came out of that group, and to be a part of that, and then getting the opportunities that I have, I, it's hard to say that I would ever look back and go, I
Yeah.
want to know. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm now
Yeah.
at that point where it'd be like, okay, it wasn't everything that you wanted to do, but it was sure a lot. And there was a lot more there than you ever thought you would do. You would never had a dream to be part of WOS returning to ITV. You
Yeah.
got to do that. You never had a dream of going to France and performing in front of 5,500 people being crowned the King of
Yeah.
France. That happened. Like
Yeah.
all these different things that have happened that you just didn't see coming on the way. And the biggest of them all, the biggest takeaway, the friendships, the
Yes.
Cash Wheelers, the John Skylers, the Robbie X's, the people
Yeah.
that only came into my life because I decided to pursue this dream, and we met doing the same thing. And that is always going to be the thing that I'll look back and cherish the most. That I'll have all these different, when we did our wedding in 2025, and we did it in Jamaica, and then we came back to the UK and did a UK reception. And I'm looking around at all these people that I've met in my life, and the Dino Marks that were there, and just all these amazing professional wrestlers that are close to me as people that I hold dear, and I'm like, wow, like your life's been so good that if you hang them up now, and I do just get a normal
Yeah.
job, and I'm at home with my wife and my dog, yeah, you know what I
Well,
mean. In the worst thing,
yeah.
it isn't the worst thing,
I
not the
mean,
ideal thing, not what
yeah.
necessarily saying
Yeah.
I want, but
Well, in the short time I've known you, I think you're such a great human being. People can look up to you. You're honestly, to have introspection, to look at your own life, to be honest with yourself. It takes a real man to do that, and you did that. So you should be very proud of yourself. I've got one question left. If you can answer this one for me. Yeah.
yeah,
If you really knew me, you would know.
that I care too much.
Wow.
For better or for worse.
I'm so honoured that you came on this show, Nathan. I'm so grateful. You're a great human
Please, you
being,
asked me
and
to be on. No,
yeah,
Danny, thank you. You're making me emotional. Yeah,
it's fantastic to
yeah.
have you on. It's been fantastic to sit and listen to you, and I'd listen all the time. And hopefully, we can do it one day in the future if that's possible.
Oh, mate, no, yeah. Thank you, Danny.
Yeah.
It's been a
So
really
good
good
luck, and
conversation.
I'll be watching, man. I'll be watching from a
Appreciate it.
distance. All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Have a great day. I know you
Take it
will.
easy, mate. You too. Thank
See you
you,
later,
mate.
buddy.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye
Bye
bye.
now.